I did my spotlight on wide receiver prospect Xavier Legette out of South Carolina. I'm going to preface this right now. And I know you laughed at me earlier about it, and I'm going to repeat it because it's absolutely true. I swear from the bottom of my heart, I do not like saying negative things about players. I don't. I really, really don't. It sucks. It stinks. I'm not a fan of it. But the film is unfortunately the film. So with that in mind, I'm going to get into it right now. So for Xavier, the games I kind of watched of his, I tried to pick one of his better games, one of his worst games, and then an average game. I want a full diversity of Xavier. I watched his Jacksonville State game, which I think he had over 200 yards. I watched his Texas A&M game, which I believe he had 20 yards. And then I watched the Florida game where he had 110. So I'm not gonna sit here and delay the inevitable and make you guys watch the 3 minutes of me sputtering to try to clean this up. To me, he's undraftable. PFF has him as their 32nd ranked prospect. He's 6'3", he's 227 pounds. And his strengths, he's fast. He's probably going to run a 4.4, 40. He's the kind of guy, he's like a Christian Watson. He's the kind of guy you want running crossing routes. You want to get him, in space with the ball. I watched some of his fades. He ran they seemed to really run a simple concept with him. It was either a crosser, it was a screen, or it was a fade for the majority of it. There's a couple basic routes in there, but nothing extensive. He rounds out of his cuts a lot, which I didn't like. So I wouldn't in any way categorize him as a route technician. He's not a Devontae Adams or Brendyn Ayuk or Stephon Diggs. He's not going to be, breaking guys out of their ankles. He's a burner. I wasn't overly impressed again with his contested catches in the Texas A&M game. There was I believe it was 2 passes, kind of fades, just drop balls. And I didn't see consistently him having an issue with drops, but there was a couple of those in there. Jacksonville State game was pretty much just a wash. It's a lower level competition. He was by far the best athlete going against those defenders. Too many times that I see him going down with a one-arm tackle or on first contact. But this is why I say he's undraftable. If I'm looking at it from a GM's perspective, this is my biggest gripe. And I hate it. I cannot stand it. And you never want to question this. Again, you never want to question this. But I have to after watching 3 games. For me, it's an effort problem. There are too many times, too many screens to other guys where he's blocking. Hey, you got most dangerous man. And he's just missing. Just not even trying. Yeah, he'll try to get out in front. The minute the guy goes around him, he doesn't shift his feet around, doesn't do anything. Blows up the play. Multiple times I watched him be the reason what should have been a 10 to 15 yard gain become a 2 to 3 yard gain because he missed his assignment. Or I think the most egregious one to me was there was a play against Texas A&M where a guy ran it out and up. He had the go around himself. He ended up getting pushed out of bounds. The out and up caught the ball. And I swear to God, he was standing there watching the play on the sidelines. And then guess whose guy made the tackle? His fucking corner. And I showed you because I went back and we tried to quickly squeeze in the Mississippi State.
It was bad. Yeah.
Another point, a coaching point here is on scrambling drills. I'm sure we've all heard this at this point. And if you haven't, well, I'm glad to inform you. As a receiver, there's scrambling rules. So the minute the quarterback breaks out the pocket, if you're short, you go deep. If you're deep, you go short. Very simple. Go the opposite of where you're at. We watched. There's a play according to PFF. Spencer Rattler rolls out to his right, and he's rolling for a while. He's threatening the line of scrimmage, and on the play, Xavier had a fade to start, a streak or a fade, and he finished the play, which resulted in a touchdown, standing on the sideline in the back corner of the end zone watching. Plenty of time to make his way back to the quarterback, try to make himself available as a target, work in the sideline, something. You cannot just be standing on the sideline watching the rest of the play out just because it's just not going to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that kind of stuff that to me, it's like a Claypool. It's a detriment to your program to have him on the field. It's bad enough if you're not getting open and catching the ball, but when you're not blocking and you're allowing screens to get blown up, you're allowing runs to get blown up because you're not blocking your assignments, you're becoming out a detriment. I can't have you on the field no matter what other skills you have. So to me, that's why I would have him like that. Oh yeah, go on, please. Any questions?
No, I want to get your thoughts on something. So, your biggest red flag with him is his effort level.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that could be coached up at the next level, or do you think that's just an end all be all?
I never do. I think that's an end all be all. And again, I'm one of those people. I think everything's at some point fixable to a degree. An effort level can definitely be fixed. If he gets to a program like New England, where Belichick coaches hard, he doesn't allow for that kind of stuff for guys to be lackadaisical, to miss assignments and stay on the field. He's either going to meet that challenge head on and rise to the occasion and be great, or he's going to fail and he's going to be out of the league. I mean, that's
right.
That's what's kind of going to happen. Again, that's why I say think Chase Claypool, right? Chase Claypool is one of those big guys. He's fast. You expect him to be a deep threat, but he just can't seem to stay on the field. He can't seem to stay on the team. It's because it's the little things he's not doing right. You're not blocking for your teammates. I'll take a step further on that out and up that I was referencing earlier, where he was watching on the sideline and his guy made the tackle, right? It's very common. You see this in games all the time. Your buddy gets tackled, you run over, hey, let me help you up, let me get you up, hey, let's go, next play, kind of thing, right? I'm sure you're familiar with that. Even on defense, they do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Walked right past him. Didn't do shit to help him, just walked right past him. Towards the end, he kind of like grabbed his shoulder, like, oh, see, I helped. It's
oh no.
This is a late season game. Like, that's not like, oh, week one, I was, first game nerves, whatever. I was focused on my assignment. You just walked past your wide receiver buddy and didn't do shit to help him up. It's little things like that. If I'm a GM watching that, to me, that would make him undraftable to me. Which again is very wildly different than what PFF has. They have him ranked as their 32nd prospect, even though he had their 33rd best season. Like, according to their grades, he had a 33rd out of 1,078 receiver grade. I'm trying to think of any additional numbers.
I was just going to ask you a question about that, E. So you just mentioned that he is the 32nd overall prospect on PFF's big board. Their 250 big board, which basically puts him as a late first, high second round draft pick.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's rated that high as a prospect when he has all of these red flags, and he has the 33rd out of like 1,000 best score? Like his season grade is not that high. So why do you think he's rated as a late first, early second round prospect, despite all the stuff that you just said here?
So my guess is PFF is probably basing on a couple different things, and they're still in their draft process, I assume. So maybe towards the end, so by the time the draft actually rolls around, we'll see where his final ranking stands. But my guess is they probably have him that high based on his potential. They're looking at the immeasurable or the untapped potential. He is still 6'3". He is still 227. I mean, he's still probably. My guess is he's going to run a 4.4 at the combine or at his pro day or whatever it is. I'd be more interested to see what his shuttle is, but that's just me. He's almost essentially like Quentin Johnson, right? Quentin Johnson last year out of TCU, first round pick. And we talked, and I don't think we even had a podcast at the time, but I told you at the time, I don't see it with this guy. Like, I know people keep saying he's big, he's fast, he's strong. Look at him. He's a prototypical X in the NFL. And I'm like, he doesn't stand up on tape. And so far as we've seen on the Chargers, he hasn't stood out there. It's just, I think people kind of become a little bit enamored with the potential of these big, fast, strong guys and assume it's going to translate well. But they're Quentin Johnson, and now what I'm saying with Xavier Legette is they're these guys that you need to scheme open. It needs to be a screen. It needs to be a mesh route. It needs to be something like that where you're giving the ball in space. And if you're not doing that, they're virtually useless as a receiver. I mean, I saw this guy was getting locked up on fade routes. He wasn't even running by corners. And the one fade we saw that he did win against Mississippi State that we discussed, we kind of looked at him. A key thing I like to do when I'm looking at a play, especially an offensive highlight, I like to look at who caused this play. Was it because the offensive player did something so well, or was it a defensive fuck up? And on that play, it was a defensive fuck up. I think it was like a 50-yard touchdown. The corner burnt off the line, still was able to regain, keep it close, never turned his head around, never played through his hands, even though the ball was underthrown. And then after that, just toasted the rest of the way. So again, I really want to bring this back around to, I don't like saying negative things about guys. I don't want to say, hey, you have no future in the NFL. That's a terrible thing to say. And I never want but if I were a GM, I don't think
You don't
I
want to
would.
bring someone like down. Right.
Yeah, I don't want to bring anyone down.
Yeah,
But
you
if
don't
again,
want
if
to
I
bring
was a
anyone
GM,
down.
yeah, I wouldn't spend a pick on
That
him
was
because of the immeasurable parts. And again,
yeah.
that's all something you can clean up, but he
Yeah.
has to be something he wants to clean up. So
Right. And I was gonna say too, like, I don't think you're bringing anyone down. You're just being real, right? And you're giving us your opinion. And I gotta thank you for your breakdown, because I was that fan. I watched his YouTube highlight, and I was looking at his stats and like his height and his weight. I'm like, oh man, this dude's gonna be like a weapon. You know, this guy could make some noise at the next level. And he said, no, B, look at XYZ. Like, these are really like bad, like red flags here. Like, you should look at this stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, damn, yeah. So
yeah.
that's just a testament to you and your breakdown, and also for people out there too. Is like, you know, even myself, we get stuck with looking at the roster and looking at someone's height and their weight, and look at their stats and their box score. But like, there's always context and a story behind the numbers that we
Yeah.
all see. And
Yeah.
these are the points when you watch the tape and watch the player, not just when he's running for an 80-yard touchdown, but on the play where he has a stalk block, or like you said, he is like a scramble drill, and he's not getting open, he's not showing effort. That's stuff that we need to see too, because not every play is a highlight. Like, we have to watch the actual aspects of the game and watch them every single play. So thank you for your breakdown. And I don't think anyone should take it a wrong way. You're just giving us your truthful thoughts.
Yeah. And again, for all intents and purposes, I could be very much wrong. He could go to a great situation in the NFL. He could thrive. He could be fantastic. And you know what? I would be kind of thrilled about that. I want to see dude succeed and be successful. But I'm just saying, based on what he showed in college in these 3 games that I looked at, I didn't see it. But I want to kind of turn this over to our viewers, whoever's watching this right now. You came in here to see Xavier Legette. You want to see what my thoughts were, our thoughts were. Tell me what I missed. Do you think there's a game I should have watched that maybe highlighted what he does well better? Let us know in the comment section. I would love to turn on that tape. I would love to see it. I want to get if there's a fresh perspective of something I missed. And hey, if you would watch this game, you would have seen something different, please let me know. I'm dying to check it out, because I really came in with high hopes for the guy. I wanted to see what he could do. And I just left I left kind of frustrated, actually, to be honest. But let us know in the comment section. Give us a like and give us a subscribe. We do this every week, like we kind of said at the beginning. We do draft out. We're going to be doing draft profiles every week. Tell us who you think we should watch next